Even if Trump loses, the fact that this is a contested race, a race so tight that we couldn't call it on election night, tells you everything you need to know about America. My name is Marc Lamont Hill. I am a professor of media studies at Temple University, and I am the author of We Still Here: Pandemic, Policing, Protest, and Possibility. We live in a country that is indifferent to Black misery. We live in a country that believes in money over people. We live in a country that is profoundly xenophobic and transphobic and homophobic. Trump is an embodiment of so much of the ugliness of America. And what he did was what many white people do who voted for Donald Trump. And that is, they won't say anything explicitly racist all the time, but racism isn't a deal breaker for them. They'll vote for somebody who's racist. And so he essentially normalized a very long-standing white practice of simply not caring about what's happening to people who ain't white. The outcome of the 2020 presidential election is very high stakes. There are ways that a Trump presidency will signal more death, more indifference, more violence, more war hawkishness. It will be a reminder of the ugliness that is at the heart of the American ethos, but it will also be a very concrete and material form of violence and harm and exploitation to the most vulnerable among us around the world. At the same time, we don't want to romanticize a Biden presidency. A Biden presidency is one where at least the president can be moved. It's a presidency that won't be marked by the kind of cruelty that we see of kids in cages at the border under Trump, but it'll still be a neoliberal presidency. It'll still be a presidency that prioritizes market values and profits over people. It'll still be one that too often prioritizes jail over justice. One is clearly more favorable to the vulnerable than the other. No matter who the president is, we have work to do on the ground. I'm a Green Party member. I have been a Green Party member for decades. I believe in Green Party politics, the Green Party agenda, the Green Party platform. It's the first time that I have voted for a Democrat for president. And I did so because 200,000 plus people were dead. The country is on fire in a way that it's not normally on fire. And I may be clear, America's always on fire, but Trump is holding gasoline in his hand.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left.
We cannot have a real freedom struggle without a radical imagination. We have to be willing and able to imagine impossible new futures and then do the work on the ground to create those impossible new futures. And no better source of radical imagination has ever existed in America than the Black feminist tradition. When I think about this next generation of freedom fighters, I think about the great historian Robin D.G. Kelley, who has a mantra: love, study, struggle. You have to begin with a profound love for the people. You have to begin with a profound love for our people. That love is what gets articulated through justice in public. That love is what gets articulated through care and through our personal relationships. That love is what compels us to fight for freedom and justice. Study. We need an analysis of this situation. Part of why I wrote We Still Here is to offer a kind of study guide and site of interrogation of the current crisis, of the current world. And my book is not the end all be all, but I think it's a starting point for directing you to other places. And in doing so, we're better committed to the third component, which is struggle. Every day we have to find new ways to resist white supremacy. Every day we have to find new ways of pushing back against capitalism. Then a couple times a year, we go into a voting booth, we pull a lever, and we engage in electoral politics. Electoral politics is a necessary part of struggle. We cannot go without it. It is indispensable, but it is also insufficient. You can't vote your way to freedom. You can't vote your way to justice. You can't vote your way to liberation. We have to continue to love, study, and struggle in every aspect of our lives, at every second of our lives, and then we will be victorious. But I want to be clear, we will be victorious. I have never been more certain than I am at this juncture in history that we will win.